Do you want to start drawing comic characters and comics but don't know what art supplies you need? Look no further, because in today's video I'm going to show you my go-to art supplies which I use for comic art and show you how I use these art supplies to create a simple drawing. Welcome back everybody, greetings to anybody new. I am the character architect. Paper you use is very important. For rough sketching to refine drawings, I like to use this square CY paper. Now this is nice, small and lightweight, so it's easy to carry around, and let's say you're standing and you want to draw, you can easily rest it on your arm and draw whatever you want. The paper quality is also really good. It's not too heavy, it's not too light, so it's suitable for inks and paints. Moving on to this paper I use for my completed drawings, I like to use this Bristol 11 by 17 sketchpad. Now the paper here is more heavy, so it has less wear and tear when you're drawing. It doesn't wear out if you erase too much, and it also feels more premium and good quality when you're holding the finished drawing in your hands. I highly recommend that you get yourself a good sketchpad. It can keep your artwork nice and organized instead of loose papers everywhere, and also a good way to come back and see your progress over the years. Firstly, for sketching, I have two main pencils that I use on every drawing I do. Firstly, my 0.5mm mechanical pencil, which I use for my rough sketchwork and to place the main landmarks of a character, and then my 2mm lead holder, which I use to refine my sketch and use to add costume details. Moving on, next is the eraser. I like to use these dust-free erasers as they keep the page clean and don't leave smudge marks on the paper. This eraser comes in handy when I've done my costume design with dark lines and I've made a mistake. Then there's the kneadable eraser. This is a special type of eraser which is used to lighten up lines but not completely erase them. Therefore I mostly use it when I am done sketching and getting ready to ink. Although while I'm sketching, I like to use this eraser to erase parts of my rough sketch. I also like to use shading pencils for pencil backgrounds and for shading my practice drawings. The main ones I use are 4B and 2B. As you move higher, the graphite gets softer and darker. As you move lower, for example 2H, the graphite gets harder and lighter. Moving on to inking tools, microns are my go-to pens for inking any drawing. The main ones I use are the 0.2mm, the 0.35mm, and the 0.5mm micron pens. I like to use the smallest size for outlining the whole drawing and then for adding hatching lines. Then I use the 0.35mm or the 0.5mm for adding line weight or cleaning up shadows. I also like to use the micron brush pen for quickly filling in large sections of shadows on my drawings. Then there's a Posca white pen. This is a paint pen, and to me it is a very important tool. Let's say you were doing your shadows and you put a shadow in the wrong place or accidentally outlined the wrong part of your character. You can use the Posca pen to cover up that mistake. Secondly, Posca pens can be used to add highlights to your character when there's a second light source on them. Just make sure you give enough time for the paint to dry, otherwise it would smudge if you moved your hand over it. Moving on, another one of my favorite tools are French curves. French curves come in a range of sizes, and most packs of French curves come in these three sizes. I highly recommend that you use French curves as they make it easier to draw smooth curves which are quite difficult to draw freehand. For example, a sword that your character is holding. The same goes for a circle stencil. It makes it much easier to draw smooth, clean circles instead of messy, weird-shaped circles when you're drawing freehand. Last but not least, there are these two grey markers I love to use to add flavour to my drawings. Apart from adding some colour to the drawings, it also helps blend in the shadows with the white paper. They can also be used to shadow a place where a completely black shadow would be too harsh. The equipment I'm about to list is useful, but not as essential as the equipment I listed before, but it's still good to have and comes in handy when doing comic art. The first one is the drawing board. Drawing boards are handy as most drawing boards have clips, so it stops your paper from moving around while drawing. Also, you can adjust the angle of your drawing board, which can make a big difference to your posture while drawing, and make it easy to draw for longer periods. Drawing boards also come with adjustable rulers, which is useful when drawing backgrounds. Next is a mannequin. I like to use a mannequin when doing practice drawings. The advantage of a mannequin is that you can model out any pose you want and draw it. Therefore, you can create unique and creative poses. Now that I've covered the art supplies which I use for comic art, I want to show you how I use these art supplies to create a simple drawing. I started the drawing with a 0.5mm mechanical pencil to place out the main parts of the character, like the torso, arms, legs, and head. I then came over with a kneadable eraser to lighten up the lines and start to add the main muscles on the body. Once I was happy with the proportions of the character, I lightened up the drawing with my kneadable eraser and used a 2mm lead holder to solidify the character proportions. Moving on to inking, I first used the 0.2mm micron pen to completely outline the whole character. I like to use the smallest micron to outline the whole figure because it makes the line weight stand out when I come over with the 0.5mm fine liner. After the whole character was outlined, I started to add the shadows with the micron brush pen, and then clean up the shadows with the 0.35mm micron and add line weight with the 0.5mm micron. To finish the shading off, I came over with the 0.2mm micron to add hatching lines. With the drawing almost done, the only thing left was to add some finishing touches. Firstly, I used the Posca pen to add the highlights to the character, and then used the two grey markers to blend the black shadows and add some colour to the drawing. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you want to see more content like this and my upcoming how to draw comic characters tutorials, smash that like button and turn on post notifications to stay updated. Also, if you have any questions related to comic art, you can put them down in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Character Architect signing out.